Tasters.
That's in 1978.
Wow.
I think our
Many,
first wine
many-
tasting was 1978.
Yes.
Who says wine doesn't contribute to
78, yep. Yeah, many gallons of wine.
All right, then we have a special category of blood relatives.
Yeah.
Blood relatives.
Any blood relatives in the room?
Blood relatives.
Think so.
Oh, there's another one.
There's another one.
Craig is busy, you're being called. No, you're being called. Blood relatives, I think you qualify.
I've been playing drum for so long I can't hear anything anymore, so.
But are you a blood relative?
What was the question?
Are you a blood relative?
Yes.
First the wine tasters, then the blood relatives. You're in the second dimension.
The wine tasters.
We know where the priorities are.
Show of hands for the hummus tasters.
Dreams.
All right, did we find somebody to record? Yeah. Excellent.
And the blood relatives.
Okay, so we have wine tasters, we have offspring, we have dancers, Mapo, Omega people. Are there any? What about all sorts of people?
What about dreams?
Dream
Dream people.
people. Dream people.
They're all.
All right, are there any other secret categories?
Men's
Right, so there's some overlap,
Men's group.
like,
Ah,
Yeah.
men's group. Men's group.
Nayor.
oh yeah, right, we actually have with George, like just about almost all of the original men's group. You know, a bunch of us are still meeting. Like,
You're still
with
men.
Zoom every single week.
Barely.
But at any rate, yeah, all these different communities.
You have a St. John's community?
Love you guys
Yes.
all, especially that you would come again. Some of you were here for my 70th, to my 80th, and now
We're looking forward
is it
to a
really?
10 more years.
Would you like to hear from some of your friends?
Hmm?
Would you like to hear from some of your friends? We're gonna do a mix of a little bit of toasts, some music, and
Speech.
speech. Well, I think we'll speak to David first before we make him speech to us.
Yeah, so,
Valiant effort.
if anyone feels so moved to make me feel great, no, seriously, to say something. I mean, like, let me just start. You know, Astrid already, I read her card, and you know, that was really, really, really nice to hear. I met Astrid 25 years ago at Maho Bay, the place that became a very important place for me to snorkel.
Yeah, baby.
And Charlie now goes to Maho Bay, St. John a lot. But anyway, so, you know, she wrote something so sweet, you know, 25 years ago, you changed part of my life. You know, I became, I found out about the dance community. And so she became part of the dance community. So anyway, if I've affected people's lives, and you feel like saying something, say it. I mean, I can say things a lot. You know, Linda Scheller, the feminists have got it. We used to do Passover Seder's all the time. And with Alice and Larry. So, yeah, Alice and Larry. So anyway, some of the important things, you know, lots of stuff is important, but some of the important things that stand out, like the Passover Seder's with Linda and Alice and Larry, and my dear friend Stephen Page and Lila from Maho Bay, very important part of my life. You know, Mitch and I would go to Maho Bay like every single year as I was just told, you know, you came the first time for a week, and then the next year for 2 weeks, and then you came for 3 weeks. And I ended up going for 3 weeks at a time. It was really a special place for me. So I have my Maho Bay people that I love, my dance community, my wine tasting. So yeah, I've said enough. Unless something else comes up, and then I'm going to say something again.
I have to thank you because
You have to go really loud.
I've known David for 46 years, but you're actually responsible for my being with my beautiful wife Sarah for the last 27.
Really?
Because I had met Sarah Omega, but understandably she wanted nothing to do with me until she saw me with David. And since she really likes David. So thank you for 27 wonderful years and our beautiful daughter, who's 21 now.
Wow.
So thank you, David.
Thank you. And Sarah.
No civic con, no Mary Lou.
So I have a quick story. Oh man, 1988, maybe even earlier. We sang together next to each other. We were at a singing workshop that was part of.
Dance.
No, it's nothing to do with dance camp. It has to do with the singer who was part of.
Lauren Harris.
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna come back to this.
Yes.
I'm gonna remember, but I remember that we sang and you wanted to just sing and just be a singer, and I remember you inspired me, and I will remember her name, and it's part of.
Sweet Honey in the Rock?
No, I can't remember the
We're
name.
all getting studied.
I keep wanting to go to Feast or Famine, and it's not. No, Paul Winter Consort. Who was the woman?
Susan Osborne.
Thank you, Susan Osborne. I don't know if you remember that, but you didn't. We didn't even really know each other. It was the Susan Osborne workshop. All right.
From Paul Winter Concert.
Who is singing tonight at St. John the Divine Cathedral.
Yeah,
It's my birthday.
Oh, wow.
Tonight.
David, what day is it actually?
27th. April 27th is your birthday, right?
Good tar.
Yeah, April 27th. And yeah, Linda Schiller's daughter Sarah is April 27th, so it's easy for me to remember. Just have to remember her birthday.
Share a birthday?
Not me, but Sarah does.
Sarah and David.
They're the same age,
Right.
only with like 50 years in between. So I'll just, since my name has been mentioned, I'll just jump in onto other things I remember, because I have David to thank for introducing me to many of the most important communities of my heart. I think I got to Dance Friday before I knew you, somehow. But from Dance Friday, you told me about B'nai Or, and we met in Watertown, in the upstairs of some building in there, when it was in the very, very beginning stages. So you told me about that, it's a Jewish renewal community, and David introduced me to IASD, which is the International Association for the Study of Dreams, which has become not only my passion, but my life work. And he was the one who read my neuroanatomy of the brain part of Modern Dreamwork for me to make sure that I wasn't making mistakes before I sent it to the publisher.
David, you didn't introduce me to anybody. But you did become my muse for being a free spirit. I am a pretty buttoned up guy, you know, busy with my medicine and doing all my good things. But I do like the concept of being able to let go and have fun. And whether it's singing or dancing or guzzling wine. And I've done all of those with you. And really, by being that sort of guy and showing me all those things you did throughout your life, it allowed me to sort of step in that direction some of the time, and every time I do, I enjoy it. Thank you.
I don't have a big drama story for you. David and I have had no drama in our 44 years.
Wait, there's still time.
There's still time. Friendship.
Not really.
I met you in the Great Hall at Another Place Farm before we started Dance New England at the Healing Arts Festival. I met you the same year. We were all up in the attic. I don't know what we were doing up there, but anyway.
I know what David was doing because you could hear the cries from the women he was with.
What I remember is David giving a massage naked in the Great Hall of Another Place Farm, and this was a new thing to me. I was very impressed. And Another Place Farm became so important, and and then Dance New England following. But really, what I want to say for me is, you're always there. I turn around in a crowd, Dance New England. You're always there, and I love seeing you every time.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback on that because that's exactly how I feel. Like David, you're like the elder. You're just what Margaret said. You're steadfast. You are a role model, and every time I think of you, I don't know if it was your 80th or your 70th, or I don't know if you were the one who said it. But every time I think of you, it was like somebody, I don't know, somebody said, somebody came to your door, years ago, and said, so, well, what do you do? And you said, well, I dance. Who shared this? Anyone in the room?
I vaguely remember that.
Right? It was,
I think his 70th birthday party.
and it was just, it struck me because you do so many things, but when the person, the unknown person who came to the door asked you that, the words out of your mouth were, well, I dance.
Well, that's not surprising.
You know, but nothing else came out.
I know.
That's what I mean. So you dance and you're wild and free, and I think you found the fountain of youth, because I don't see any aging here anymore. And I love you. Yeah. Thank you for who you are. Oh.
David, before we started going to Maho, which I followed you there, was that? I remember every contact class I ever participated in. You were there with Olivier and Chris, and then Brighton Bush. You went across the country, and I followed you there. And then Maho Bay, you know, for 30 years. And men's group, and I think probably you were there the weekend I met Zebby and her dance.
Wow, that's a lot of connections.
Yeah, a lot of connections.
That's a pretty groovy phone ring.
That's for me, I'm not here.
We could dance to that.
Albert, do you want to say something to the crowd?
Well, yeah, I just wanted to say happy birthday to David John.
It's Albert Cook. Hey, Albert.
On his bike.
Hey,
Albert Cook.
Oh, hey, Albert.
Thanks for calling in, Albert.
Oh, you know about that.
We're having a sweet.
Take care.
How sad about it.
Okay.
What a world.
What a tribe, what a wonderful world.
That did not exist when I met you. When I met you, that did not exist. No cell
The
phones,
phone.
no one had a cell phone,
Right.
nobody could like call in.
Wow, we go back a way.
They go that way.
Albert is on his travels in
You have
Ohio
been
now, so he
one
could
of
just be
my
here.
all-time favorite dance partners, and I have had the privilege of doing some very deep personal work with you in our little breathwork tribe for decades now. The first one, 1998 was the first time we
Was
did
it?
that.
Yeah.
But I met you in 1990, I think, at dance camp. And you, just like people have said, you're always there. We always look for you. It's not a dance if I don't get a few like
Right.
really good dances with you.
That's so true.
And I've had the privilege of making your birthday cake for 70, 80,
Wow.
and tonight. Yes. Mwah.
Love you. And love the tribe.
Yeah.
For years, I tried to get David to take on some significant leadership roles in Dance New England. And you were too busy with other things. The moment you retired, you came on the rep board at that point. We served together for a couple of years.
Right.
But your sense of timing was completely your own. You were not pressured. You wouldn't have. I wouldn't do that anyway. I respect you too much, but you. If I had tried, it wouldn't have worked. Wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
I said this already, but I also always would see you at dances and feel good that you were there. But Meredith West put on this AM radio show review at Dance Freedom, and she had David be the announcer.
Oh.
And
right.
he has this dry wit that just made everything really funny. It's like, this is WDNE, and everybody just fell apart. Yeah, and ever since then, whenever you're going to be speaking in public, I always listen because that dry wit is there, and it's just so enjoyable. And, yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Yes.
He experiences some wit in our wine tasting group as well, but it's never dry.
I joined the men's group with Mitch and David and many of the men in the room in the mid-'80s, I think, and stayed for at least 10 years. I was even coming back, attending occasionally when I had moved to New York, and I would be back in town whenever I was back in town. Sometimes we would still meet. And I found it very inspiring that you were still living large and inspired as the elder of the group and imparting your wisdom to us. It was very enjoyable. Good role model. I was like, yeah, I want to be like that.
Yeah, Dave sort of lived in a house that really should be called a purple something. This is the Purple Palace, but that house you lived in, wasn't it purple?
It was. It had
Some
purple
kind of
trim.
weird color.
It had purple trim. It was gray with purple and nipple trim. The nipples were colored nipple. That was deliberate. So Harvard, 178 Harvard Street.
Yeah.
I remember that.
They
And
had a few
that's,
men's groups there.
we called that the Palace. And then right after that, Mitch built this place. It was like, he built this place in a year or two. We were still like, we had a table saw in the living room for 10 years. But our hot tub was on the roof.
I remember that.
That was above everything else.
This makes getting older fun.
Yeah.
Well,
I said this.
Anyone else?
Well, as David mentioned, we met in Mahou Bay at an absolute crossroad, and he, I think, underestimated how much of an influence you had in my life. First of all, I have never met another human being who would freely dance. Coming from pretty uptight Austria, we dance ballroom, but we don't do this. I was always the exception and the weirdo, and I met David, and so I was at awe. And he told me that you could do this in Cambridge and in Watertown, and it was magic to me. I walked to the tent going, 11 Garden Street, 24 Main Street, 11 Garden Street, until I had a pen to write it down so I would not forget about it. And out of this came this community for the past 25 years, my husband, and I stayed in this country.
Oh,
So,
wow.
and my dog, of course, too. So I will be eternally grateful for you, David.
He's a connector.
Yeah.
When I was finishing up a novel, which had a large element of time travel, I went to David to check out the physics.
He's our resident expert.
Yeah.
On everything.
Many things.
Excuse me.
What?
Would you do a cantorial blessing?
Yes. Did I do what?
A blessing for us?
Bless me?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so this is my request, which David has agreed to.
Okay.
At our wedding, this hasn't, no one's mentioned this yet, you gave us a cantorial blessing. I don't know how many of you have heard, I mean, most of you were at our wedding, but I was thinking maybe as your birthday gift to us, you could bless us. And we could listen.
So,
You did more than you have.
part of my background, it goes like all the way from yeshiva to farming, you know, like trading to live on a kibbutz. But the yeshiva part was when I would, people who are sitting close to me that are singing know that I have a really tough time keeping on tune. So I compensated by creating like blessings in Hebrew that I make up my own tune as I go along.
Nigun.
Exactly.
Sorry we're so late.
For those people who really know the real blessing, my apologies. Baruch Hashem, yesh merhaba, lo, honeini, 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 yesh merhaba, mavarech, mavarech hakol, baruch atah shamaydu Shem Elokeinu melech haolam, baruch atah Hashem, Baruch Aleinu, all of us, Baruch Aleinu.
Do you want to grace us with a song?
Sure.
You have all these friends that make music. That one play for you.
Oh, would be fantastic.
Steven's gonna play. Steven's gonna play for us.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah, that's great.
That was beautiful, David. That was
gorgeous.
Right, David?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
So this won't be quite the song that you just gave us. And it's actually not my song, but I used to sing this song for forever, over the years of Omega Institute and at Maho Bay doing the Omega thing there, where some of us were. And it was it's actually a Bob Marley song, and I sang it so many times at Omega Institute for groups of people that came on every weekend and every orientation that we had, which was twice a week. And at these orientations, I would rely on this song often. I did some of my songs, and I did this one, and I did my songs, and I did sometimes this one, and often this one. And I sang it enough times that somebody came to me one year after a few years and said, I gotta tell you this. I heard Bob Marley on the radio singing your song.
That's so
Kudos.
That's great.
Happens.
Rise up in the morning, smile to the rising sun. 3 little birds sit by my doorstep, sing a sweet song, melody pure and true. Say